1 2 1 2. Salute, salute, salute. Peace, peace, peace. All right, just getting situated real quick. Just getting situated. About to start in a second. About to get active in a second. Sorry for the delay. One more minute. Peace. Once again, it's God time. What we're gonna get into is some current events This is not anything based on personal feelings or any type of personal attachment. I named this live today The Age of Idolatry for obvious reasons. The worshiping and the idolizing of men, women, and in some cases, children that have quote unquote star power. The power to influence, the power to seduce, the power to entice. And this mostly falls on people that are in the spotlight, from your celebrities to the top rappers, top singers, actors, actresses, sports figures, different athletes, even in the money world. People are idolized, and it clouds your judgment to actually see people for who they really are. So again, what I'm going to present today is a build. This is not a placing of judgment on anyone, because we all stand to the same judge. We all stand to the same judge. Some people do things that are blatant and without regard, presumptuous. You have people that do things based on a weakness, and they fall because of that weakness and temptation. But we're going to be speaking about and going into the obvious people that do things purposely and that know their ways and actions are wrong, but they still do it with no regard because there's a reward for them that they receive. All right. So let's get to it. First things first. First things first. Let's go here. So what I'll be doing, I'll be presenting all my points of evidence and points of proof for display. And you can look it up yourself. You can check for yourself and make your own decision. All right. So let's get into it. This man right here, interesting figure, very interesting figure. Hold on one second. Aleister Crowley. You research him and you check him out and you do a little digging and you use, excuse me, the tools that you may have in regards to internet search, other than searching for whatever it is that you search for, and actually do a little digging and research. You might be able to put some pieces of puzzles together. Well, in this case, I'm going to present, like I said, all the pieces of the puzzle to this story, or this case. And feel free to add on. Again, this is a build. This is a discussion with those that would be in attendance, and you could weigh in and, add on whether you agree or you disagree. But the proof is, as they say in the pudding, is right here. So let's look at Aleister Crowley. And check him out. Let me zoom in on this a little. Let me get into this. Aleister Crowley, born October 12, 1875, from England, was a British occultist, writer, mountaineer, who was a practitioner of magic, as he spelled it, and called himself the Beast 666, drawing on the number of the beast mentioned in the book of Revelation. He was denounced in his own time for his decadent lifestyle and had few followers, but he became a cult figure after his death. So that's Aleister Crowley, right? You may be asking, well, what does that have to do with anything? And I say, please be patient. We're going to continue. I just want to lay out, all the pieces of proof for this segment, which many others will follow after this. But we're going to go one by one. Took a little time because there was some preparing, So let's go to another thing on Crowley, shall we? Okay, that's the same one. Give me a second. Give me a second, please. Wrong one. Here we go. Okay. What does it say about Crowley as we continue to look? Aleister Crowley, an early 20th century English occultist, was known as the wickedest man alive. So just keep that in mind, the wickedest man alive. He was often called the Beast due to his avid interest in the occult and his unconventional lifestyle, particularly in his sex life. Particularly in his sex life. So let's keep this all in mind as I'm continuing to lay out what I'm going to be presenting. Okay? Let's get the next one. Let's get the next one. So that's 2. And now we'll move on to number 3. As soon as it's ready. And here we go. Do what thou wilt. Remember that. Remember that. Do what thou wilt. Let's remember that phrase. Let's remember that slogan. Do what thou wilt is a phrase from Aleister Crowley's The Book of the Law, which is explained in terms of true will, the ultimate spiritual core or quintessence of each person, little tongue-tied there, quintessence, there we go, of each person, which has a divinely self-ordained path through the world of experience. The phrase refers not to hedonism or fulfilling everyday desires, but to acting in response to that calling. The full phrase is, do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law. Love is the law. Love under will. There is no law beyond do what thou wilt. Do what thou wilt. Let's keep that fresh and seared. They threw in and said the phrase refers not to hedonism or fulfilling everyday desires. That's definitely what do what thou wilt entails. It does entail hedonism. It does entail fulfilling your everyday desires. Do whatever you want to do. Whatever makes you feel good, do it. This is the motto and the creed that this individual lived by, and others that follow him. Let's continue. Let's continue. Let's look at hedonism, the definition. For further context. Hedonism. Definition is the pursuit of pleasure, sensual self-indulgence. Self-indulgence, pleasure seeking. All right. Don't get bored with me. Presenting facts and presenting things to show my case. This is another picture of Crowley. And everything about him was satanic, occultic, as above, so below. Do what thou wilt. Called the beast, referred to as the beast, and also the wickedest man alive in his time. So how would not do what thou wilt have anything to do with hedonism or any other type of pleasures or indulgence? It wouldn't make sense. Then how evil could this person have been for him to be called the wickedest man alive in his time? Let's continue. And you could look this guy up. You could look up everybody that, or everything that I'm going to be presenting tonight. You could look it up for yourself. All right. Do a little research and look it up yourself. Just going to remove some of these things from the studio. And I'm going to make room for what's next. So that's Aleister Crowley. And he learned what he learned and followed this person right here. He followed this person right here. Her name is Helena Blavatsky. Madam Helena Blavatsky. everything that Aleister Crowley was and was mentioned of him, if he learned from her, can you imagine how she was? Her teachings is what he followed, in which he in turn had many others follow him. So if he was labeled and called the most wickedest man alive, and this is his mentor in so many words, and who he learned from, and whose doctrine he followed, then can you imagine how evil she was, or how wicked she was? Think about it. Let's use some logic. Think about it. Let's get the next thing. So where am I going with this? Where am I going with this? Let me make sure I got all of that. Yes. And now we'll begin. Now we will begin. Where was I going with all this? I was going here. I'll stay quiet for a second and let you read for yourself what's on that shirt. Did you see it? Do you see it? I'll move my mouse across it. Do what thou wilt. Now, knowing everything that we just went through in regards to Aleister Crowley, seeing everything we just went through in regards to Aleister Crowley, how he's labeled the most wickedest man alive, known occultist, Satanist, and who he learned from. And you can go deeper and see who she learned from and where she got her ideas from. And just dig and go down, as they say, the rabbit hole. If you know what this individual represented and what were their ideals and their mind state and their basic life philosophy, why would you follow that? How can anybody be a good, wholesome, decent individual and follow someone that tells you do whatever you want to do, whatever makes you feel good? If you like it, that's what matters. Do it. That's the idea of do what thou wilt. It cannot be spun any other way. No matter how it's tried to be, no matter how anyone would try to defend it, it cannot be spun any other way. I didn't make this. This is all over the internet. I actually saw the interview when he did this interview, where the still shot comes from. In the early 2000s, I say late 90s, late like 98, 99, maybe, possibly not, probably between 99, 2000, early 2000. There was a show on MTV called The Diary of. my diary. And what they did, they followed a celebrity for whatever amount of time, a week, a month, or whatever, and basically delved into their life, what they do behind the scenes and things of that nature. He was one of the people that did it. And in an interview, this sweater was worn with those words on it. And there's other artists, other rappers and singers and entertainers and actors that have done those type of shows, that have done a lot of crazy things that they hope would not resurface, or said a lot of crazy things that they hope would not resurface to show their true colors. And this is one piece of evidence that's been out there for a long time. This is not Photoshop. This is real. And it's actually like a one-of-one shirt. That's like a made-to-order shirt. I've never seen anybody wearing it. Now, I could be wrong. It could be others like it, but I've never seen anyone else wear this. And with pride wearing it. It's right on the front, right across the chest. Do what thou wilt. So you see this and you see what that phrase is, and you don't know what it means or where it comes from. You think is innocent. You think it's nothing. But that's what it is. That's exactly what it is. Again, this is not a personal attack. This is not nothing personal. No one is hating on anybody. It's just the truth. We see it. You can see these things. You can see it. It has to be explained. What does that mean? Why do you wear that knowing who this individual was? Do you believe in those same principles and quote unquote standards that he believed in? Why else would you wear it? Just think of anything in contrast towards yourselves. Would you wear something of a statement or of a picture of something that you did not agree with? No. The answer is no. You wouldn't. Would you sit around someone that you do not like and you don't want to be around? The answer is no. So for you to wear a shirt that says, do what thou wilt, knowing where that phrase comes from and who's the author of that phrase and who he learned from, and then what was written about him and what he was called, the guy was referred to as the beast that's in Revelation. He called himself the 666. Was he the 666? No. But that's what he called himself. And I say that based on what's written, because what's written about the person that bears that number, the 666, tells you that they have the authority in regards to who's able to buy and who's able to sell because of that 666. So he didn't have that authority, this guy, Aleister Crowley, but he knew that that was associated with evil. It was associated with wickedness. Called the beast and 666 and called the wickedest man alive. So again, the reason why I called this the Age of Idolatry, I'm not specifically pinpointing or saying that that's what this is. That's me saying it. As far as what I see, not telling anybody else like this is what it is, call it that. I'm not saying that, not one bit. But if you have eyes to see, you can see that people that's idolized, they can do no wrong to the people that idolize them. like it's impossible. Like this is not possible. But you really have no idea in what goes on to make it in that realm, in that world. No one reaches any heights of success. No one reaches any heights of success to those levels where you're a 100 millionaire or a billionaire without evil. It's impossible. It's not the Most High God, the God of righteousness, the God of holiness, the God of what's right, of what's good, that's blessing these individuals. It's the God of this world. It's the God of this world. And what are they doing? They love money so much they'll do anything to get it. And that's what the scripture says. It says that the love of money is the root of all evil. And by it, many have erred. Erred means you done violated. You done did something you wasn't supposed to do. For money. For the bag. The ultimate bag chaser was Judas. He was the ultimate bag chaser. Judas. And what did he do? He betrayed the king. And that's what these people do in order to reach the heights of success that they reach. They betray and denounce God. So even when they thank God, it's the God of this world. It's not the supreme being. It's not the righteous God. It's not righteousness. So there's a lot of things that go on in that realm within Hollywood, within the entertainment world, within the music industry. There's a lot of occultic rituals that take place. People really do sell their soul. This is not something that's fake. This is not something that is made up or a quote unquote theory. This is real. There's tons of musicians that you can look up that have made statements. And I have more in the tuck to present that I'm going to present in a couple of seconds or a couple of minutes. But there's plenty of entertainers that have spoken that in so many words said that they sold their soul. So many. All you got to do is look it up and you'll see. Just type in entertainers that sold their soul. It's no coincidence the different hand gestures and things that they do. Everybody's doing this. You see the different hand gestures. I'm going to show you a couple in a second that they do to show you what it is that they're doing and what it represents. Some of you may notice, some of you may not. And in regards to this live, I'm speaking to brothers and sisters that by the grace of God have escaped whatever hold that was on them with the organization that we was once a part of. So some of you may not know this information because being in that organization, the information was controlled. Having freedom, you're able to find out a lot. But some people may know. So it might be quote unquote basic or fundamental to you, but this is definitely necessary for those that do not know. If you look up Hollywood and research Hollywood and see where that comes from, then you'll have an understanding. Spell casting is real. casting spells is real. This is real. Like this life, this world, I say it all the time joking, but it's really true. This world is like the Chronicles of Narnia mixed with Lord of the Rings, mixed with Game of Thrones and House of Dragons, The Matrix, soon to be Terminator. This is how the people that really run the planet, the ones that have the power over the planet, communicate with the people, with the average people, the people that's in darkness that look at things as just entertainment. But it'd be a lot of predictive programming of them showing their plans and their agendas. And it happens over and over and over. But because they have demonized people that do see it, is now considered theory. But this life that we live in right now, going into 2025, has been shown to us in movies dating back 30 plus years of the different things that we have present, like what we're doing right now. And other guys and females that do streaming and make millions of dollars streaming on a cell phone, a device that has everything on it. You can make a phone call, you can send an email, you can send a letter, you can record, it's a video camera, everything. Very advanced. And it's no coincidence that every screen is black. And every screen is a square. Be it a square or a rectangle. That black cube represents something. Look it up. That black cube represents something. And there's no coincidence that every TV is like that. Every cell phone is like that. Every laptop computer is like that. That's not by coincidence. This is all by design. So going back to Hollywood, the wand that the druids, which were warlocks, the wand that they would use to cast their spells and do their quote unquote magic, they got from the holly tree. The holly tree. Holly tree is where you get holly wood. And they will use that wand to cast spells. That's not a coincidence. That thing is elevated high in the California hills over everything. And does it cast spells? Absolutely. Look at the movies. People that act out movies, they say art imitates life. Nah, that's from being influenced by these warlocks and witches that run Hollywood. That's what they are. They cast spells. They play on people's emotions. People act out based on the emotions and the buttons that's pushed to get them emotionally driven to do the things that they do. That's what Hollywood is. So you can't trust an actor or an actress. You cannot trust them. You can't. You cannot trust them. You never know who it is that you're getting, what part, what character they playing. So Hollywood, we know that this is what it is and this is what's going on. And there's a lot of rituals that take place in Hollywood. A lot. And they always prey on children. Always. When we read the scriptures and you go back to the days of Molech and you read about children being sacrificed and God commanding the Israelites not to offer their children to Molech and pass them through the fire. This is something that's been going on for thousands of years. We read about Moses when Moses was being born and Pharaoh got word. It was a slaughter of babies, of male children, trying to find Moses. Same when the king was born in the flesh. It was a slaughter of babies. And again, I don't have it in the rotation of information as far as pictures and things of that nature. So I'm kind of like jumping around before I go to the next part with the rest of the pictures. But that's the whole deal with Margaret Sanger, the woman that came up with Planned Parenthood. And you read the quotes that she has said about Black people and brown people, and that's what those things are. Having an abortion and killing what God is creating inside is a child sacrifice. Especially for those that let it go all the way full term and then the baby is mutilated and destroyed. That's not by mistake. Just like it's only in certain neighborhoods you'll see advertisements for Planned Parenthood. Or you'll hear it on the radio. That's by design. And it's set up by program directors. And look at who looks up to her and said is a hero and says she's a hero to them. Hillary Clinton is one. She said that Margaret Sanger is a hero to her. Knowing what this woman stood for. Knowing what she stood for. And that's a hero to Hillary Clinton. Look it up. You'll see. This world is far more crazier than most people know. And that world I'm talking about as far as entertainment and Hollywood and the rich. And of course, you have some that come and jump to their defense because they're using their power of influence to try to shake that off of you from seeing something like, oh, such and such said it's not true. So yeah, it ain't true. And you see other people going super hard and super defense mode for anything, especially about what we're talking about with this. Especially with this. It's not anything of hatred or anything. As an artist, as a lyricist, it is what it is. But that's not what's being talked about. It's like if you on the flip side, if you was to say somebody is whack or they trash and their music is not good, nobody's saying that about your character. Nobody's saying that about you. It's the music. That don't make you a sucker. That don't mean you a punk. That don't mean none of that. Sadly, today people can't take criticism. They can't, take somebody's opinion because, again, when it comes to art, which music falls under that category, is subjective, based on people's opinion, what they like, what they prefer. So this is not anything with that when it comes to this topic. All right. That has nothing to do with anything. So now, let's look at this. Let's get back to the picks. Let's get back to this. I want to throw something in there real quick. Again, God says, can two walk together lest they be agreed? You cannot walk with somebody and be cool with somebody and friends with somebody if you don't agree. And I'm not talking about agree like based on an opinion or something like that. I'm talking about a lifestyle. If you know somebody is known for what it is that this individual in the picture with him is known for, and he winds up getting arrested and sentenced, you know that this person is like that. Why are you around them? It's not new coming again. You coming into something that's already been going on for. You coming into something that's already been going on way before you got there. So I'm talking about in reference to the rapper and the individual that he's in a picture with. You're new to Hollywood, not him. He's been active. Been. So there's no way you get to Hollywood and you don't hear about these things because they talk. It's a secret society. All they ask is trust. That's the truth. That's been going on. There's been a lot of secrets. And then after a while, people start revealing when they snap out of those spells. So you wouldn't be associated with someone like that, knowing what they're about. So I say that to say this, because now it gets interesting. Now it gets interesting. Here we go. This person is Marina Abramovic. I'm going to stay quiet for a minute. Marina Abramovic. Who is she? Who is she? Well, let's find out. Let's find out. Those of you that tapped in, thank you. Salute. Godspeed to you. Hold on 1 second. Just got to get a couple of files. Okay. Hold on 1 second. If you got a question or anything and that's here, you can ask for Way. If you got a question. Okay. So this is what Marina Abramovic is known for. Spirit cooking is an event and central ritual started by Marina Abramovic, who is an artist known for her gory performances and occultist rituals. The ritual itself has deep influences from old occultist rituals performed prior to consumption of Eucharistic meals during worship. In the 21st century, the ritual spirit cooking, popularized by Marina Abramovic, has gained interest as an artistic experience, especially due to predominant news coverage in the late stages of the United States presidential election in 2016. Continuing on. The origins of spirit cooking can be found in the preludes to the production of the cake of light material, a sacrament in the religion of Thelema. Thelema is what was started by Blavatsky. This is the same doctrine that Aleister Crowley follows, which was founded by Aleister Crowley. So correction, it's founded by Aleister Crowley, not Blavatsky, but the ideas of Thelema come from Blavatsky. So this woman, Marina Abramovic, does spirit cooking as a sacrament in the religion Thelema that Aleister Crowley founded. The original ritual, not the same name, is performed during the cooking of the cake of light wafers that is to be consumed during a religious gathering. The ingredients of the cake of light include honey, oil, menstrual blood, and sperm. The ingredients of the cake of light include honey, oil, menstrual blood, and sperm. The sacrament is meant to symbolize the union between the microcosm, man, and the macrocosm, the divine, which is a representation of one of the prime maxims in Hermeticism, as above, so below. The consumption of the cake of light is a fulfillment of the sacred circle of the connection between man and the divine. The ceremony of spirit cooking is the modern rendition of the 19th and 20th century rituals of the cake of light. And what are the ingredients again? Honey, oil, menstrual blood, period blood, cycle blood, unclean blood, and sperm. Semen. The slang word cum. These are the ingredients that's used for spirit cooking to make these cakes. Cake of light. What light? Let's continue. let's continue. Hold on 1 second. In spirit cooking, Marina uses pig's blood, which most resembles human blood, as a medium to connect the spirit world with the material world. That might be the case in what's done in public when she has public viewings, when she does this quote unquote art, but that's not what's done behind the scenes. Behind the scenes is being done the way it's supposed to be done. The ritual takes place in the kitchen, which is considered the heart of the home. The goal of the ceremony is to convert matter into energy so spirits can feed on it. Marina derives her inspiration from the popular belief that the spirits still need food, even though it is no longer solid, but in the form of light, sound, and emotions. So you can read on. I'll leave it there for a second. And we're going to get to the next one. That was 3. And I'm going to show you a picture. I'm going to show you a picture of what spirit cooking looks like. Actually, a couple pictures. Hold on 1 second. I think this is the next one. Let's see. Okay. Quiet for a reason. You got eyes, you can see. That is Marina Abramovic. With a sharp knife cut deeply into the middle finger of your left hand, eat the pain. Look at the way the hands are, the arms are with the goat, and you see the 5-pointed star with the goat horns. This is not Photoshop. This is not altered anyway. You can look it up online and you'll find this picture yourself. It's right in front of our face. They make mockery on how stupid we are. And even that much more mockery on the ones that jump to their defense because they caught up in idolatry. See, it's a blessing for the ones of us that were once entangled in what we was entangled in. And now you can see. When it's there, you can see it. It's right there in your face. Like, how could you not see this? Let's go on. So that's spirit cooking. Again, the ingredients: oil, honey, and menstrual blood and semen. Even in what we read prior, if you go back, and it says that she uses pig's blood to substitute human blood. You ain't see nothing for a substitution for semen. It's not even mentioned. The oil's not mentioned, the honey's not mentioned, and the semen ain't mentioned. They just try to throw it off with the blood. This is what it looks like. Fresh morning urine sprinkle over nightmare dreams. This is art by Marina Abramovic. That's art. And now I'm going to show you this. Again, I'm just presenting what's the proof. I'm just presenting what's the proof. It's there. The information's right there in our faces. This is not me with a, this is not a theory. This is not some made up, thought. This is real. It's right in your face. Look who's with Marina Abramovic for his video Picasso Baby. Everything we read about Aleister Crowley, knowing where he got his ideals from, Blavatsky, spirit cooking, the ingredients and what it entails and where it comes from, back to Aleister Crowley, called the most wickedest man alive in his time. The author of the phrase, "Do what thou wilt." And that's his dancing partner in the video. When they tell you who they are and they show you who they are, you cannot act like you don't see it. Don't be clouded and blinded with star power, with influence, with fame. There's only one God. Only one. There's only one. You over here idolizing and falling victim and jeopardizing your soul. These people don't care about you. Even the famous people that do it. You think he care about y'all jumping to his defense? Say for a scenario that with what's going on with him, he's cleared of all charges. Does that mean that there's no evil present? There's no way to reach those heights of success without doing evil. Let's list some evils. Backstabbing, betraying, a betrayer, that goes on heavy. Plotting to take somebody out the equation, that goes on heavy. The more you do that, the more you start rising in success. Adultery. Get certain positions of power through sexual favors. murder, sacrifice. That goes on. I won't sit here and name anybody that people say that they sacrifice their children, this, that, and the third, or whatever. But anyone that you look at of these celebrities and something happens like that, the piper had to be paid. They show it to you all the time in the movies. All the time. Just like you see movies like Clear and Present Danger about the deep state, corrupt government starting wars. Trying to hide the evidence. It's real. It's real. Some people don't believe it. That's their freedom. That's their right. But when you see the proof and you see the evidence, you can't argue it. So again, we know what she's about. Why are you around this individual? Why are you dealing with them? Why are you doing that? All right. Let's look at this. Now, again, how can two walk together except they be agreed? How can you be around somebody unless you agree with them? And again, I'm not talking about, trivial points of disagreements, like sports and music and what's your favorite song. I'm talking about that. I'm talking about lifestyle. A lifestyle, a way of living, a way you behave, a way you conduct yourself, what you indulge in. When they show you, you got to believe them. This is not by coincidence. That's what that symbol represents. People will say, okay, but that's what it represents. Why do they all put it on their eye? Why do they all do that? Over one eye. Why? Look at everybody. You see them people that's there? You see who they are? Old and new. This sign is the hand gesture to represent 666, the number of the beast. It is used to indicate to whom they owe obedience. Now, excuse me. When they show you, you have to believe it. You have to. That's not done for no reason. And there's some that's in there. There's some that's in that world. Excuse me 1 second, please. There's some that's in that realm that know and want to talk. Some of them do to a degree, but they talk in code because they're still in there. They still got to make their money. They still got to do what they got to do. So they can only do but so much. And I think they allow it, the elites, I think they allow it for like some sort of fake balance. But there's no holds barred over here. I don't owe allegiance to anybody. My allegiance is to the Most High God. That's it. So when they show you, you got to believe it. The level of idolatry is really crazy. It's really crazy. The level of idolatry. And I'm going to show you. This is crazy. This is what's right in your faces. Y'all, you play with this and act like it's nothing. Now, we know that her head was placed on the Renaissance image of the person that was portraying Jesus Christ, Caesar Borgia. But just the idea alone of knowing what it's supposed to be, that's clear and obvious that the powers that be, the elites, have pushed this agenda of putting people in the forefront as a god. When she speaks and she says to do something, people do it. That's why it was a focus on the one side of politics to invite her to come out because of her star power, the influence. When these people as this person, when they really are commanded to use their star power for something, they get stuff done. They got their little crews and cliques. They got the what is it, the beehive or whatever, and they'll attack you. People will come after you and try to kill you and do something to you to speak against their God. Now you think I'm just saying that being funny. I'm just saying that being funny, right? What is this? What is this? If you're not worshiping these people, what is this? Cannot get caught up in celebrity. Can't get caught up in person's fame. Or their wealth, and turn a blind eye to what's obvious and blatantly evil. Can't do it. Now, again, we all stand to the same judge. We are all sinners. The difference is there's some sinners that are trying to be righteous and do what's right. And there's some sinners that don't care that they sin and they already got their reward in this world. And they're not looking for anything else. They wanted it now. They wanted it fast. They wanted it now. I got to eat now. Sounds familiar? It's the story with Jacob and Esau. I got to eat now. Don't care what it is. So God's will be done. And like I said, for a surprise reason that is innocent and nothing happens, that don't mean the evil is not there. That just means there's some, that's power. That's power in this world. That's all that means. That's power in this world. The God of this world is no doubt Satan, the devil, the evil, whatever you want, whatever name you want to call him. That's this world. That's why everything is the way it is. And it's hard for people to really be righteous because the influence is pulling and dragging in every direction, everywhere. But just know what the if I could say the prerequisite that's laid out for you to make it into the kingdom of God. Just know what that prerequisite is. I'm gonna read it. I'm gonna read it for you. Right now. Give me 1 second. One second. Okay. 1 Corinthians chapter 6 and verse 9. I'm going to read it in the Good News translation. Verse 9. Surely you know that the wicked will not possess God's kingdom. Do not fool yourselves. People who are immoral or who worship idols or are adulterers or homosexual perverts. That's 1 Corinthians chapter 6, verse 9 in the GNB, the Good News Bible or the Good News translation. Verse 10. Or steal, or are greedy, or are drunkards, or who slander others, or are thieves, none of these will possess God's kingdom. I got another one. I got another one. Give me a second. Got another one for you. Is it this? Nope. 1 second. I got the wrong one. I think this is it. Galatians 5 and verse 16. Galatians 5 and verse 16. What I say is this: let the Spirit direct your lives. And this is in the GMB. Let me start again. What I say is this: let the Spirit direct your lives, and you will not satisfy the desires of the human nature. For what our human nature wants is opposed to what the Spirit wants. And what the Spirit wants is opposed to what our human nature wants. These two are enemies. And this means that you cannot do what you want to do. That means you cannot do what thou wilt. If the Spirit leads you, then you are not subject to the law. What human nature does is quite plain. Verse 19. It shows itself in immoral, filthy, and indecent actions, in worship of idols and witchcraft. People become enemies and they fight. They become jealous, angry, and ambitious. They separate into parties and groups. They are envious, get drunk, have orgies, and do other things like these. I warn you now, as I have before. Those who do these things will not possess the kingdom of God. And the last one that I have is Revelation 21. Revelation 21 and verse 8. But cowards, traitors, perverts, murderers, the immoral, those who practice magic, those who worship idols, and all liars, the place for them is the lake burning with fire and sulfur, which is the second death. Again, it's not personal. It's nothing personal. It's no hatred. It's no envy. None of that. Supposed to be content with what you have. God said that it's impossible for rich people to enter into his kingdom. It's easier for a camel to walk through the eye of a needle than for a rich person to make it into God's kingdom because of their wealth, their possessions. That's why Christ said, remember Lot's wife. She died and lost her soul over her possessions. So it's hard for the rich. That the young man came and spoke to the king, and it tells you that the king looked at him and loved him, but he was lacking something, and he would not do it, and that was give up everything that he had to help the poor. There's a great responsibility for people that are rich. There's a great responsibility for people that are rich. You're not going to spend $500 billion in your lifetime. You're not going to spend $3 billion in your lifetime. It's a lot of money. So people that were well off, that were rich, it was very few that were righteous with what they had. Very, very few. In this world, again, it's the God of this world. That's why the people act the way they act. And they do what they do. And a lot of stuff that you probably see yourself that you question and you wonder why. Hopefully this information will make it make sense. So I'm about to close out. I will be back by the grace of God with another installment and present more evidence with other things. But I went with this one today because of it being hot on the press with what's going on. And a lot of people have been really disappointing when you look at the history that's already there, that people see, that people know. It's not far-fetched. I'll leave with this. It used to be done in the 80s a lot. I saw it growing up. And in the 90s, I saw it. There were young girls that be in your class in your same grade, in 7th grade, 8th grade, that were built like women already. And they were not talking to the guys in their class. Very rare. It was very small amounts. But the majority, they were with older dudes. It'd be dudes pulling up in cars, picking up girls in 7th grade and 8th grade that had bodies that looked like they were women with the makeup and everything and looked mature. This is not new. This is stuff that's been going on. It's been going on. This is why God has what he has when you read the Apocrypha in regards to daughters. How you're supposed to deal with your daughters and raise them a certain way. And now you see why in certain communities and certain neighborhoods throughout this country, it is how it is, where it's a single parent, the mother mostly, with the child, and there's no father present. And this is what goes on. And then you have cases where parents want that for their child. So they basically go into pimp mode and they push their child to an individual. And that happens in the music too. That happens in that field. That happens in acting and actresses. And this is not nothing new. So until the next time, It's God time. Peace.